This is your main event, Mark's Podcast, brought to you by the Unhinged Sports Radio Network and the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. I am your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, and cat dad. I am Troy, and with me as always, he is the WCW Watcher of Classic Wrestling and the main event collector. He is the super callow to my cyclope. He's Greg. What's up, Greg?
What up? It's a really random-ass duo.
Yeah. I think I gave you, and I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think I gave you the cooler of the two. Maybe.
I don't know how to measure that, but sure.
Yeah, right. Well, because, you know, Super Callow's mask always had, like, sunglasses on it and a backwards cap. So, I don't know, maybe. And he dressed like the Public Enemy. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Well, then. Changed my mind.
Yeah, right. Well, today...
Anytime I hear he dressed like the Public Enemy, oh, man, I'm game. Let's go.
Damn straight. But today, ladies and gents, we're going back to the year 1997, which is one of my favorite years in all of pro wrestling. I think Greg would also agree that's one of his favorite, correct?
Correct. And I was at this event, so yeah. We'll start out nice.
Yeah, and this was in his neck of the woods in NorCal, and it's one of them events that one of the two of us can at least say we were at, and Greg's been to quite a few events before we ever met, and since we've been friends and all that, so there are quite a few that he can say I've been there. And this was a good one, I think, to be there for. All of 97 was really good. Were you a Piper fan?
At this time, yes.
Okay, but you were always a Hulkamaniac, so I'm sure you were happy to see him and the NWO.
This night, though, I was all Piper. Nice.
Yeah, well, hey, he stayed for 7 days and 7 nights in Alcatraz, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, while the WWF had The Rock, he stayed on The Rock. So, no?
No, but, well, I don't know what to do with that. He wasn't The Rock yet, though.
No, yeah, he was just Rocky. So it was just a little Rocky, okay? It was about to be The Rock, though. But, yeah, so this is SuperBrawl 7 from 1997. We're going to get into the main event was Hollywood Hogan versus Roddy Piper for the WCW title. And lots to get into here. I don't want to spend too much time on this open because there's a lot of news and notes to cover. The main event, Marks, is sponsored by Fanatics. Get all of your officially licensed sports gear with Fanatics at fanatics.com. Go ahead and click on that link down to the podcast description. And when you go to checkout, let them know that the main event, Marks, and the Belly Up Unhinged Radio Network Sports sent you. Also, we are sponsored by Swift Lifestyles. Their clean energy drinks and focus enhancers, great tasting vitamins, and big brain nootropics. And they are made and shipped from right here in the US of A. Go to swiftlifestyles.com and use our special promo code. It's Main Event Marks, all one word, no spaces, Main Event Marks for 15% off your order. Also, check out our Linktree account. That is where you can get all the links to all of our social media, our podcast links, YouTube, and our swag shacks, aka our bonfire and Redbubble merchandise stores. Go to linktr.ee/main event marks. That's linktr.ee/main event marks to get everything you need for the show. Also, we are live yet again. You can listen to us on Burns every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific on tikilive.com/channel/Burns. Burns is the brand new Unhinged Sports Radio Network, and it stands for Belly Up Unhinged Radio Network Sports. We go live every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific on tikilive.com/channel/Burns. That's Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on tikilive.com/channel/BURNS. On the other end of this break, we're going to get into the news and notes right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event_Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event_Marks and at Main Event Collector. Get ready to rumble! In your new Main Event Marks merchandise, we've got t-shirts, hoodies, masks, hats, stickers, pins, and much more on our Redbubble store. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com. You can also pick up some awesome clothing items with the latest updated show graphics on our Bonfire store. That's bonfire.com/store/main-event-marks. Support your favorite retro wrestling podcast and pick up some cool swag on our Bonfire and Redbubble stores. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com and bonfire.com/store/main-event-marks.
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper of TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. Expert fantasy advice, free contests, leading expert medical and legal analysis, and most importantly, you. Interact with us on all social media platforms or check us out at tssfantasy.com. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Check out the fun today and be a part of the most interactive fantasy show around. TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back.
And we're back.
News and notes time from February of 1997. This is another one of those holy crap, I forgot this took place at this time kind of situations.
Oh, these are always fun.
Yeah, oh yeah. Shawn Michaels vacated the WWF title due to a knee injury on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm like trying to figure out what the hell you're going to say. Sorry. Okay.
Yep. And is said to be so bad, it could be career-ending. Yeah.
Only guy in history to lose his title due to smile-related injuries.
Right. Michaels appeared on a special Thursday night episode of Raw and cut a teary-eyed promo before vacating the belt just 3 days before the In Your House pay-per-view. Shawn has since
Thursday, Raw Thursday.
Yeah. That made no sense, but yeah. Shawn has since said that he was pretty much nearing a mental breakdown at this point and just needed time off. Dr. James Andrews said that Michaels wouldn't require surgery at all, and 4 to 6 weeks of rehab should be fine. However, Shawn is now out of WrestleMania, and the plan is for him to appear as an announcer before returning to the ring full-time in the fall. Needless to say, this has thrown WrestleMania plans into chaos just 1 month before the show. With the title being vacated, the belt was held up at the In Your House pay-per-view, and Bret Hart won the title, only to lose it a day later to Sid on Raw. And now the plan is for Sid versus Undertaker to headline WrestleMania 13. And it
not to jump ahead, but I think it turned out to be very good. Oh, the whole show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Bret faced Austin in one of the most talked about matches of Steve Austin's career. So there you go. And people can, because, they were, when I seen people commenting on this story, and they're like, well, Bret, drops the belt a day later, which, yeah, it does suck. But at the same time, they're like, well, he's out of the title picture at WrestleMania, what the F, and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, but he faced Austin in a damn good match. And
oh, no title, therefore it meant nothing, dude. Duh.
Yeah, right. And on top of all of that, I guess he was supposed to face, a lot of people had a problem because they're like, well, he was supposed to face, and I think Bruce Pritchard confirmed this, he was supposed to face Shawn Michaels again in a rematch from WrestleMania 12, and then the idea was that Shawn was going to lose this time and give Bret, quote unquote, his win back, but that didn't happen.
I never understand that logic, his win back. Once you have a loss on your record, it's there, dude.
Yeah, let's
I don't get it. Like they say that same stuff in MMA and in boxing. Oh, my win back. Okay, well, you're not going to get it back. You can get a win, but that loss is still there.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, it's like, I understand that, they're like, well, 50-50, you do the job for me, I do the job for you and whatever, but it's like, I don't know. And some people argued that they tried saying that they think Shawn pulled this just to get out of having to do the job to Bret. I don't know, maybe.
Maybe he did. Well, who knows?
Yeah, he did tell Bret Hart one time, because I think right before the screw job, one of the things that fired Bret up was Brett told him, he's like, well, I'm going to drop the belt to you and whatever. And Shawn was like, thanks, but just so you know, I wouldn't do the same for you. And apparently that just pissed Brett off so bad.
Screw your feelings.
Yeah. It's like,
Also, whatever happened to just being happy with honesty? Yeah, it may have been a dick move, but wasn't that honest? No credit for that.
Well, I was a huge Bret Hart fan, but let's face it, him and Shawn were both immature buttheads. They may have went about it differently, but they were both very immature with a lot of thinking.
Like any interview you ever hear with Bret too, he always talks about like physicality. Oh, if we would have gone to a fight, I would have done this. Like, so that's how you work. You go straight to the physicality.
Yeah, right.
That kind of turned me off too. I'm like, well, dude, that's what kind of human you are. Okay.
In his promo vacating the title, Shawn talked about the knee injury as potentially career-ending and said that he needed to go home and find his smile because he lost it. Shawn reportedly...
Oh, his mom told him.
Oh, yeah. Right. That makes it even better. Mommy told me I don't smile enough anymore, so I got to go home.
I can't play with you guys anymore.
Yeah, but this isn't my ball, so I got to leave it here. Shawn reportedly told WWF only the day before that he was taking time off and said that the doctor in San Antonio told him that his knee injury could be a career ender. WWF considered doing an angle with someone attacking his knee to write him off of TV, but instead chose to just do a promo and have him vacate the belt because they were concerned that if his knee really was hurt that badly, they could damage it further by filming an angle. After Brian Pillman spent a few weeks hobbling around the ring and getting involved in matches, only to re-aggravate his ankle injury, WWF was wary of the same thing happening to Shawn. That being said, nobody's really buying the knee injury as a real story. It's believed Shawn really does have a knee injury, but as stated, it's not as bad as the real story seems to be an emotional breakdown.
To point out, he was in the ring at King of the Ring 97 a couple months later, so that's a hell of a career and the injury to come back from.
Was this the one that they played Tell Me a Lie, or was that the first one where he vacated the IC title?
I think it was the IC title.
And that's another one. That's pretty sad when you can sit there and be like, which time was it that he vacated the title?
Well, that one was legit, though, to be fair.
He went home to cry?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you have like a legit concussion?
Yeah, that was after he got the hell beat out of him by a few Marines, I guess, because he's got that big old shiner.
Real Marines or Jesse Ventura?
Wow. He's a SEAL, damn it.
Well, whatever. They're all on the same lines.
But, yeah, so, I don't know. A lot of people are suspect of this, which even Bruce Pritchard to this day said he's suspect. He's suspicious about it.
The fact that like you said, he was in the King of the Ring pay-per-view a couple months later. Like, if it was career-threatening, that's the part that gets me, as a career-threatening. Anybody got a knee injury, okay, that happens, whatever. But They said it was career-threatening. Like, and then he's back in the ring.
Well, the way Bruce Pritchard was talking about it, he said, well, he's telling us he may never wrestle again because of his knee injury and all this other stuff. And then when he gets out to the ring, he concentrates on, I lost my smile. I don't smile anymore. And he's like, who gives a shit? He was like, you have a knee injury. He's like, if you have a career-ending knee injury, why do we care about your smile? Like, which is it, dude? I don't know. And he's like, that's what made us all suspicious. And then he said, on top of that, or well, not on top of that, but something I heard various wrestlers say, it's like, dude, any wrestler can walk into any doctor's office at any time and get diagnosed with a bunch of stuff and get pills or be told that they'll never wrestle again or whatever. He's like, that's not hard to do. So I'm sure he got told by one doctor he may never wrestle again because he has a knee injury, and he just took that and ran with it. So, I mean, you got to think about it. Their job is to get slammed around and jump off of things for a living. So, yeah, they're going to have mounting injuries that are going to affect them in various ways. So,
and yet Edge is still wrestling to this day.
I know, right? After he swore up one side and down the other, nope, it's incurable. There's no way I can ever wrestle ever again. I'm done.
Well, that part they probably did tell him, but
yeah,
keep in mind that was a decade ago, so there's advancements now. So.
Well, 'cause I remember him going off on people because they were like, not to be a dick, he wasn't being a dick about it, but like, after Daniel Bryan came back and he was like, it's not the same situation. I have neck issues and that can never be fixed and blah, 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 blah. And then boom, like, wow, modern medicine, man, I'll tell you. Rocky Maivia, after being a pro wrestler for less than a year, we were just talking about him, was given the Intercontinental title and it backfired big time. There has been concern since he debuted.
Now.
Yeah. But there's been concern since he debuted that the WWF was pushing him too fast and that the crowd would reject him. And sure enough, even before he won the title, during the match, the crowd was chanting "Rocky sucks" at him.
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, right. Hey, Rocky sucks. Ah, man, that was actually the better of it, because then they started chanting "Die Rocky Die." Like, holy crap.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard that the very first time that was chanted was in Philadelphia. I'm just putting that out there. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't doubt that for even a half a second. I will say, because the whole thing is he got injured and he came back and then he was heel. He joined the Nation of Domination. And everybody's like, oh, okay, well, they're booing him. So, now he's a heel with the Nation, whatever. I'm going to say if this was today's WWE, he'd come back and then they'd be like, well, he's got to be babyface because he came back from injury. So let's push him even harder.
I don't know. When Seth came back, he wasn't.
Seth kind of bounces around from face to heel. I don't
even know what the hell he is at the moment of this recording, to be honest with you. And I love it. So.
Yeah, there are some shades of gray that work out there. I think he's definitely one of them. But either way, Ahmed Johnson is out with an infection in his arm. A while back, Farouk hit Ahmed with a board in their match, and the board splintered, and the splinters got into Ahmed's arm, causing some kind of infection. It eventually got so painful that he went to the hospital and ended up being hooked up to an IV, and he was there for 5 days.
So Farouk legit hurt him twice.
Right. Yeah,
that's not a good look, dude.
But Ahmed, no, he's the dangerous one in the ring. Wow.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure neither one of those things happened in like an actual match.
Yeah, right.
Like, at least between the two.
He's like, can you quit having Farouk do a run-in on me, please? Well, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been. I think it was Charlie Haas. Was talking about that the spine buster that Farouk gives. He's like damn near makes you crap your pants every time you hit because he slams you so damn hard.
Such a effing man.
Oh yeah. He slams you down and yells, "Damn!"
More torque.
Anyway. We talked about the things that 90s audiences yelled before. Well, on Raw, they had Goldust and Marlena cut a promo to emphasize that Goldust is not gay and that his act is all just mind games. The reason is that
was this before or after Jerry Lawler called him the Q word?
Might have been after. I think it was after. I don't know. But the reason is, ever since he turned babyface, he hasn't been getting cheered because crowds still think he's gay, and it's the 90s, so boo!
I remember, like, so many TV shows, like sitcom drama, whatever, in the 90s, their excuse for, homosexuality, whatever, it's the 90s. And now this. Oh, it's not okay. It's the 90s. Which one was it?
Yeah, it was in sitcoms. It was usually used as a punchline, and then in in wrestling where it's like, how do we make him a heel? I know, he likes men. Okay, whatever. But after the promo, Hunter Hearst Helmsley and his new female valet / bodyguard, who would be named China, came in and attacked Marlena. You remember this one?
I believe that was at the Final Four pay-per-view.
Ah, okay.
I remember back watching that. Triple H lost the Intercontinental title to Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of took all the steam out of that feud him and Goldust were having.
Yeah.
It became just a thing between them. Like, okay, I guess.
Why doesn't he like me anymore? Well, I mean, isn't it obvious? The fake Razor and Diesel gimmicks have been dropped by the WWF, but they're still using the gimmicks for AAA in Mexico. Well,
that Diesel one's going to go on to do.
Yeah, right. Well, if you're going to have rip-off gimmicks, the best place to do that is Mexico, because they honestly do that crap all the time. I mean, in their defense,
I had no idea.
In their defense, I guess most of the people they rip off are under a mask, so you can't always tell. But either way, Brian Pillman is still hoping to be back in the ring by April. His ankle recovery is finally making good progress.
Don't think he would be.
I know he was wrestling later on in the year because he passed away.
I don't think it was April though.
No, yeah, I don't know exactly when. I just know him and Goldust were in a feud there during the fall. He passed away before Bad Blood.
Somehow D-Love got involved, and that was the match that night, I think.
Yeah. Vader was sent to the Duke Weight Loss Clinic, the same place as Yokozuna was sent, and he's reportedly lost close to 40 pounds. I don't know if that's stuck, because according to Bruce Pritchard, they kept getting bad reports back that Yokozuna and Vader were hanging out together, and they would do everything right during the day, and then at night, when everybody was like not paying attention, they'd go out and get big buckets of KFC and eat it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the worst thing you can eat.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there.
Right there with McDonald's.
Hey, just so everybody knows, I'm only eating the skins, so the chicken's up for grabs still.
Good Lord.
I'm sorry, we got to throw in at least one or two per episode. The former NFL player Darren Drozdov is being trained by WWF's Tom Pritchard and will probably be brought in sometime in the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, it sucks that he's in a wheelchair. That's not what I'm saying. That because his thing was puke. Just knowing what's coming.
Yep. I mean, everybody can see it on beyond the mat. There's a, he's gonna puke. He's gonna puke. Like, what the hell? That whole thing was classic. I remember the first time I watched that, I was like, what the hell is Vince doing? Either way, the ECW/WWF working relationship is back on. Well, it never really stopped, as the two sides have been working together behind the scenes for a while now. This time, a plan is for ECW wrestlers to invade Raw next week, although they may not be coming in as heels this time. Or instead, it may be more of a relationship like the AAA deal, where they simply work alongside the WWF and have their talent work WWF shows. All of a sudden...
Yeah, they got around them not being heels by having them with Jerry Lawler, I believe.
Yeah. All of this is to help promote ECW's first pay-per-view in April, which will surely help them do a good enough buy rate for the show to be a success. This week, Jerry Lawler cut an anti-ECW promo on the show during a phone call with Paul Heyman, which basically was done to set up ECW's invasion as an ECW versus Lawler deal. It's actually fortunate that all of the ECW talent will be on Raw next week, because most of the WWF crew will be on a tour of Europe, so they're running a skeleton crew, and they need as many warm bodies as they can to fill a 2-hour show.
Yeah, I remember this. Wasn't this the one where they had like the debate in the middle of the ring on the podium and all that?
I don't remember. Is this the same one, or is it a different one where Sabu like falls off the Raw sign?
That was way before. Yeah.
Oh, that was a different time. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how many times they had these guys on the show. So, but speaking of ECW, pay-per-view channel Viewer's Choice was quoted in a news story saying that they would be willing to carry future ECW pay-per-views as long as ECW fixes the issues that they had problems with before. Viewer's Choice declined to carry the upcoming Barely Legal show because they had concerns over the angle with Raven and Sandman's son, but that angle has pretty much been dropped. So if Barely Legal does a good buy rate on Request TV, then Viewer's Choice will likely be carrying future shows.
Going off the Rise and Fall of ECW documentary, wasn't it the mass transit incident that hurt it too?
I don't know. I would assume if they're carving up minors on their show. I mean, if Viewer's Choice had an issue with Sandman's son getting involved in a storyline, probably had an issue with that. I'll just say.
All he said was, "Dad, you're drunk. I wish a Raven." I don't understand why that was a big deal.
Yes. I mean, that first part, was he wrong?
No.
Yeah, something.
It's kind of redundant to say, though. But, yeah, he wasn't wrong.
Wait, the Sandman drunk? What are you going to tell me next, that fish drink water? I don't believe you. Like, moving on to WCW here. WCW and TBS have decided to begin airing another live 2-hour primetime wrestling show sometime in the near future. All the decisions haven't been finalized yet, but it will likely be a Thursday night show. TBS would largely fund the show, so it would guarantee a massive influx of new money into WCW without them having to fund it out of their own budget. Okay.
What's going to be?
Yeah, right. A couple things here on this. Obviously, this is Thunder. For anybody out there that really doesn't know anything about it. But going off of Bischoff's podcast, he said he didn't get to choose the names of the shows. He was told, hey, your Monday show, it's going to be called Nitro. Your Thursday show, Thunder. There was no debate. There was no, hey, how about this? How about that? Nope. Nitro and Thunder, period. So he said that was decided like instantly what it was going to be called. I don't know why.
Well, the Nitro thing had to do with because they already had a Monday Nitro on TNT. It was a movie block.
Right. So that one made sense. The Thunder thing, I don't know where that came from. Maybe they thought TBS Thunder sounded good. I don't know. But either way, that's the first.
Thunder in Paradise was a thing. Maybe they stole from that too.
Yeah, maybe. But the other thing about this, when it says TBS would largely fund the show and it would be a massive influx of new money into WCW, wrong. Eric Bischoff said they didn't fund anything. They had to work off the same budget they've always had and figure it out, which is what frustrated him. He said, we have the same amount of funding, but you want us to put on another 2-hour show weekly. So,
and we're very close to Nitro becoming 3 hours at this point.
Yeah. So the only advantage that they had was that they could use some crew from TBS and TNT. But according to Tony Schiavone, and I think Eric Bischoff mentioned this as well, but Tony definitely talked about it. He said their crews didn't know anything about wrestling. They all had to be trained, and they only got so much of the crew. They didn't have unlimited resources for the companies. So either way,
liars?
The what?
Are you calling the TBS and Turner execs liars?
I'm calling Uncle Dave a liar because he reported this crap.
Can we just talk about redundancy?
Yeah, well, Uncle Dave, liar, whatever. Same. Either way, Ted Turner is expected to appear on the March 3rd episode of Nitro in an angle where he fires Eric Bischoff. Plan was supposed to be kept a secret, but pretty much everybody already knows. In fact, Mark Madden revealed it on the WCW hotline, which upset several people within WCW. When the WWF found out, they managed to get the story planted in the New York Daily News, saying that Turner is frustrated because he's unable to overtake Vince McMahon in house show attendance and pay-per-view buys, and is getting desperate enough to start appearing on pro wrestling shows.
Yeah, that never happens.
Yeah, so
I think that becomes Dr. Harvey Schiller, right?
I don't know.
That's who appears and suspends him. Doesn't get fired either.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, I remember now. Yeah. What was that right before?
He said, we can't fire you. He's like, you can't fire me out of the contract. He goes, no, we can't. We can suspend you. That was the whole thing.
And was that where he demoted him to the commentary, or is that a different? Or no,
that's a completely different one, but
okay.
The same premise though. Yeah.
I remember now. Yeah. And that was the Finger Poke at Doom show where he reveals that he's actually still working stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I remember that now.
Sorry. It's not something you want to remember now.
I know. Well, what's funny about that is, WWF plants that story, and they're like, well, Ted Turner's getting desperate enough to appear on pro wrestling shows. And it's like, and then, just about a year later, their biggest heel becomes the owner of WWF. Imagine that.
It works.
I mean, people can make the argument, well, he was already on the show. It's like, yeah, but he wasn't technically a character. And I'm not saying they were wrong for doing it either. I'm just pointing out, that they're like,
also point out that Vince knows wrestling, and Ted Turner really didn't that much.
Yeah, he knew wrestling. Yeah, according to everybody that worked with him, they said he was a nice guy and everything, but they said he clearly never watched an episode of Nitro ever, unless he had friends with him and he wanted to show off. It's like, look at my wrestling company. You want free tickets? Shawn Michaels reportedly asked Scott Hall about coming to WCW. Michaels is under a long-term contract with the WWF, so it's highly unlikely he'll be getting out of that deal easily, so don't look for Shawn in WCW anytime soon. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Wasn't that all debunked to be bullshit?
I don't know. Maybe. Did he say that was bullcrap? I don't remember.
I feel like Bischoff said it on his pod.
Yeah, he might have.
Quote me on that.
I know. I think Shawn at one point said he was thinking about it, but he never actually reached out to anybody because it was basically, he missed his friends kind of thing, And he was.
That's working wonders nowadays too, as we speak.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a lot of people jump. Somebody pointed out to me, by the way, because we were talking about the whole Walter being Gunther thing now, and they pointed out, they're like, yeah, Gunther sucks, but they're like, I mean, his name was Walter. Isn't it kind of like a lateral move? Like, yeah, a bit.
Yeah, ish. On that note, I heard today they abandoned that trademark, so it may not even be happening. So,
yeah, they might still go with Gunther, maybe, but not Gunther. What was it? Gunther Stark or whatever the hell. I don't know.
Was it some Nazi name or something?
Yeah, it was like a Nazi U-boat captain from World War II. Like, yikes.
Well, not to defend him or anything, but I'm pretty sure they didn't pick this name because, it's great. It's a Nazi name. I believe it probably was an accident.
I'm sure. I'm sure it was. I'm not saying they intentionally did that, but I mean, then again, they didn't intentionally name that stable the submission sorority. Naming it after a porn site. You remember that?
Laughed at, I remember you telling me. I still laughed that was a thing. Like, okay, so who found this out? Like, what pervert knew this?
Well, apparently they found out because the website actually tagged them on Twitter and was like, "Hey, WWE, thanks for the publicity."
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So, yikes. But either way, but the thing I was thinking of, because we were talking about names, and he had pointed out, I didn't even think about this, but he's like, well, they're going to go back to everybody has a fake name because they're like, look at all the ones they allowed to keep their name there for a while. Most of them left to go to AEW and kept their name. Like, yeah, I can see that. I get it. And Vince hates seeing his names of, anybody who was in his company. He hates seeing that in another company, which I get it. So whatever. I don't really care. As long as I would like to see Walter get called up soon, or whatever the hell he's going to be called.
He literally just got to NXT, dude, so it's not going to be anytime soon.
I figured they would have counted time in NXT UK. But
oh, hell no. That's like the bottom now, because Kaylee Ray's just got put on NXT.
I noticed that, yeah.
Tony Storm stayed there forever, too.
It's the training ground of the training ground, so there you
go. Pretty much. For anybody with an accent, yes.
Right. Yeah, right. NXT UK. Let's throw the Austrian and the Australian over there. Because they talk funny.
I can buy the Austrian. The Australian?
Yeah, it's like, you sound similar, right? Yeah, whatever. Get over there.
The fact that it's a whole different continent, we don't need it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Whatever.
Play semantics.
Look, I did some research, okay, and the reason you talk this way is because the England made your country their prison colony, okay? So either way, you belong.
Good God.
Look, I'm not saying that to be offensive. That was real. That's a real story. If anybody, it started off as a prison colony. History lessons. See, you learn things here on the podcast. It's not just about wrestling. Moving on. At a recent Clemson versus Wake Forest NCAA basketball game, Ric Flair was the honorary
rolls
coach.
Off the tongue.
I know, right? Ric Flair was the honorary coach of Wake Forest. The game got a ton of mainstream attention, and Wake Forest star Tim Duncan attended Nitro and hung out with Flair and other stars.
What's he ever going to go on to do?
Don't remind me.
Don't remind me.
Flair also filmed a skit for the game with Dick Vitale. It's the Nature Boy, baby. By the way, did he kick out? I know he was sick there for a while.
Yeah, he's back doing games now.
Ah, good. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. The guy's never going to stop. I mean, it's a good thing, but he's never going to stop.
I know, right? I was worried there for a while. I was like, man, because he looked like he was going to kick the bucket. And I'm like, man, it sucks. It sucks to see anybody die, but it's like he's been an icon in college sports forever. So, but moving on to something a little less depressing, but it kind of depends on your scale here. A guy named Ernest Miller debuted for WCW at the latest Saturday night tapings. Uncle Dave said that he's a former New England Patriots football player, and this is because he was in the training camp and never made the actual team. And he'll be doing things with Glacier. Did he?
Oh, yeah,
with Glacier?
He did, yeah. That was my introduction to him, actually. I didn't even know he debuted beforehand, but yeah.
I like how his whole thing is he's like a legit black belt martial artist and whatever, and apparently he's damn good. And Uncle Dave is like, oh, he played on the practice squad for the New England Patriots. Like, okay. By the way, this is back.
That sounds like some Jim Ross stats.
I know. And this is back when the Patriots didn't mean anything. All right, so
they're very close to kicking that.
Yeah,
very close. A couple of years.
Yeah, right. Speaking of Glacier, everyone in the company pretty much agrees that the gimmick is a flop, but they spent a lot of money on it, and it's Bischoff's brainchild, so the character isn't going away anytime soon.
Garrett Bischoff's brainchild.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, right. Who would have known? God.
If anyone doesn't know, real quick, apparently, I don't know if it's true, the story goes that Eric saw Garrett playing Mortal Kombat one day and got the idea.
Pretty sure he confirmed that on the podcast, didn't he?
Yeah. He might have.
Yeah, so, God, this was, well, hey, man, they made, the
entrance is one of the coolest ever, by the way. I'll fight anyone on that all day. Then that damn bell I'd ring.
Yeah, right. But, yeah, so, that's Glacier. And hey, a friend of ours sent me a pic of, was it a trading card or something? It was him versus Dink. Because how often are you going to see that together?
I don't know this for sure, but I have to feel like that was the event that we always talk about. Like that they were there together.
Yeah, right.
I don't know that for a fact, but I have to believe that it is because not to make that guy right, but he's probably right. When the hell else would you see those two together? So it has to be, right?
Yeah, right. Good Lord.
Speaking of that, real quick, not to veer off topic, did anyone else see Matt Cardona purchase the only Dink toy ever made? Like it was like a prototype of a old Bendham. Matt Cardona paid $12,000 for it.
Why? Oh man, if you've got that kind of money to throw around, you're loaded.
He's the Michael Jordan of pro wrestling figure collecting.
Yeah. Yikes. New Japan has been in serious negotiations with Ken Shamrock for the last week to set up a match with Shamrock challenging Shinya Hashimoto for the IWGP title at the Tokyo Dome. Shamrock is still under contract with Pancrase for 4 more fights, but it's thought that New Japan may have offered to buy out his contract. Yeah, so I didn't read ahead.
Again, how's that going to go?
Yeah, right. I didn't read ahead, but the spoiler for a teaser for this one said, read next week's issue, everything changes.
Kind of.
Yeah. So, spoiler, he's not sticking around in Japan. He's going to New York. But speaking of Japan...
The best idea you had.
Yeah, right. If only he's stuck with it. But speaking of Japan, the NWO angle in New Japan Pro Wrestling seems to be getting over pretty well, with every show for the last week sold out, with Scott Norton, Marcus Bagwell, and Masahiro Chono headlining.
My hero Chono.
Well, because Greg, when I think of the 3 NWO guys, that's the 3 that come to my mind.
You didn't say Vincent, but he would be there. It would be 4 for me, I guess.
Oh well, yeah, that should have been the foursome going into the Hall of Fame. But NWO merchandise is also selling like crazy in New Japan, even more than they do in WCW.
Dude, it's crazy. 2022, and I just heard because I own like 5 shares of WWE stocks. They send me the emails and stuff. The NWO shirt was like the number 2 or 3 selling all year on shop. Wow. That is insane.
Yep. And they just went into the Hall of Fame, last year?
Yeah, I mean, that obviously had something to do with it, but come on, dude, really? Like, yeah, that's insane.
Oh, I know. But yeah, they went to the Hall of Fame last year. They're going to be in a video game this year. Like
for 6 years removed from being created.
Yeah, it's freaking nuts, man. It's
argument about things standing the test of time. Well, I dare you to find something in wrestling that stands it better than NWO. I dare you.
Yeah, that's something. I'm sure the Austin 316 shirt probably still sells, but
I think that was in the top 3 or top 5 as well.
Go figure.
So was Cena and so was Roman. I think Alexa Bliss's doll was like in the top 10. It's insane. Some of the stuff they're talking about.
Wow. That's nuts, man. But yeah, so that does it for the news and notes, man. You ready to get into the event?
Hell yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, it's WCW SuperBrawl 7. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
This message is brought to you by Belly Up Sports. No, just kidding. This is not an NWO promo. This is just me, Kyle Sullivan, aka Shaggy Von Doom, the host of Here in Puckburg on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. I have a hockey podcast where we talk about hockey fandom and the love of the game and where that leads you in this game we call life. Why am I on Main Event Marks telling you about this? Well, what if I told you I had one half of the world's greatest tag team, otherwise known as the Main Event Marks, the one and only Greg, Superfly Greg. He was on, and he was talking about his love of the game. So you might want to come over and check that episode out. And if you like what you hear, you can check out the rest of our incredible episodes with our incredible hockey community, from PHF athletes, ESPN personalities, fathers of NHL players, and a whole lot more. Come by, follow the show, give a like, give a subscribe, and it'd be great to have you here in Puckburg. But enough about me. Let's get back to what you're really here for, the Main Event Marks, because they are the cream of the crop. Oh yeah.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we are back. This one is WCW SuperBrawl 7. Took place February 23rd, 1997. The tagline, "The big one will hit San Fran when the big boys play. Get ready for the Rumble."
There's like 3 ripoffs in there.
Yeah. Like, what the hell is this tagline, dude? Either way,
for the Rumble.
Yeah, right. What else took place about a month before this that they could possibly be referencing?
I don't even think it was a month.
But anyway, the venue was the Cow Palace in San Francisco, California. Attendance 13,324, and the pay-per-view buy rate was 0.75, which amounted to 275,000 buys on pay-per-view.
Well, the size of that arena, I'm going to assume it was a sellout.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know who else lived in the area and was at the show, Greg?
Shut up.
Uncle Dave was there live. You could have peed next to him there and didn't even realize it. But
back then, he probably had that sweet mullet, so I wouldn't hate him then.
Yeah,
you can't hear him.
You'd have just like looked over at him and like, look at that mullet.
It's all kinds of Roll Tide.
Yeah, it's like, man, can you even hear me out over all that party in the back? but
man.
He said this was probably the most anticipated wrestling show in the area for the past 25 years. It was sold out 2 weeks in advance, and if they had booked a larger building, it would have likely set an all-time gate record for WCW. As it is, it ended up being the 3rd highest ever. They also did the 2nd biggest night of merch sales ever. So,
you know where I got my tickets for this event, by the way? You may not believe it. Here's a throwback. I got my tickets for this event at Tower Records.
At what records?
You never heard of Tower Records?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't have those in this area, but I've heard of it. Wow.
Got my tickets there. Doesn't get any more 90s than that, man.
Yeah, right. That's like when I hear a reference to like Sam Goody or something. If nobody knows what we're talking about, Google it. We start the show with Roddy Piper. We start the show with Roddy Piper being let out of Alcatraz in his kilt and T-shirt. His T-shirt's all ripped up, by the way, because, he was there alone, so clearly he was getting into fights. I don't know. But he's acting like...
I didn't even piece that together, but yeah. Okay.
But he's acting like a freaking madman as he runs to a boat waiting for him. And I gotta point this out. He's like walking out, and then like there are cops there, security, whatever. One of them puts his hand on Piper's shoulder, and he grabs him, and he's like, "I know my way." Okay. And then he like runs out of the prison like shouting like a weirdo. Then he jumps into a boat waiting for him on shore, and he goes to the front of the boat, and he's like holding his kilt down because the wind's blowing, and he's yelling, I'm coming, while the boat's just sitting there. This is just a weird visual all the way around, man.
I feel like I remember them on Nitro showing it too. Like, he was there for like the week or whatever.
Yeah, they were probably.
Didn't someone say he legitimately did that?
I don't know. That would have been freaking weird if he did, but I don't know.
I thought Benedict Cumberbatch did freaking method acting. Holy crap, he got nothing on Piper.
Right. We then get a clip of Syxx stealing the Cruiserweight title from Dean Malenko, and then he tried to steal the U.S. title from Eddie Guerrero, but Eddie stopped him. So he just stole the Cruiserweight title. This next match.
I'm glad he got the important one.
Oh, well, of course. This is the one that matters, Greg. But this is Dean Malenko defending the WCW Cruiserweight title against Syxx in about 12 minutes. Malenko comes in like a house of fire, breaking his own pins multiple times to beat up on Syxx even more. Eddie Guerrero ends up running down to stop Syxx from using the Cruiserweight title as a weapon. They play tug of war with it, and the referee is distracted by Eddie when Syxx rips the belt away and blasts Malenko in the face. He then pins Dean for the... Oh, god dang it, pal. But he pins Dean for the win. I'm going to tell you right now, I did not rate everything as high as Uncle Dave did on the show. He gave this 3.25 stars. I gave it 2.5. I thought for these guys, this is average. What say you?
I gave it 2. I was like, it could have been better. Definitely wasn't bad.
Nah, it didn't suck. It was okay. I don't know.
The ladder match the previous month was better with Syxx and Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the only shining light on that turd of a show. If nobody knows what we're talking about Sold Out.
Which is confirmed to be an arena in 2K22. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, only for I guess current gen, whatever.
Yeah, I still throwing that next gen crap in there. It makes no sense. It makes zero sense whatsoever. Next gen, whatever's coming in 7 or 8 years.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Current gen, whatever. I guess I have last gen. Stupid. But it's only for Xbox Series, whatever, and then PlayStation 5. I still have Xbox One and PS4. Anyway, next up, we got a 6-man tag team match. It is Conan, Villano 4, and La Parca taking on Juventud Guerrera, Super Calo, and Ciclope. This one went just shy of 10 minutes. This was just a car crash match that put the luchadors on pay-per-view. There was no story.
I get the Mexicans on. Throw them all in one match.
Right. Well, there was no story to it.
Some legit talent in this match, too. It's like, man, they could have had a couple of good matches out of these guys.
Park is great. He's one of those guys that, he's very overweight now. But he's doing, like in the last few years, he's done some great stuff.
You're damn right he's over.
Wow. And his 2 sons are really good. So, Villano 4 is pretty decent.
He's the original chairman before, Sean Spears goes rips him off.
Yeah, right. Conan's good. Ciclope, I haven't seen enough of him. Juventud is great. Super Calo is
best wrestler in the world?
Good lord. Super Calo's pretty damn good. So, I don't know. Yeah, it was just moves, though. In the end, Conan hit a Splash Mountain on Juventud Guerrera for the pinfall win. I don't know why the Splash Mountain seemed like the go-to winning move for every luchador in WCW. But Uncle Dave gave it 3.75 stars. Damn near 4 stars for this one, man. I gave it 2. What say you?
Talk about being there and like just living in the moment too much, but I gave it 2 as well. Right.
Yeah, because I was like,
I'm certain 12-year-old me loved this and probably would have said 5 stars or whatever. But watching it back, I don't remember this was too far back for me to remember what I felt at the moment.
Well, and I'm not saying this was bad. It was like you said, it was fine wrestling. It was a good luchador match, and it had some good talent in it. But why should I care? That's my question.
See what Eric Bischoff's podcast does to
you? Yeah, I guess so.
Give me a reason to care.
Thanks, Greg. Bro, the Mexican, bro. Nobody cares.
I thought he said that about Japanese guys.
I'm sure he said that about all of them. Anybody?
To be fair, I've never heard that. I'm saying.
Bro, he's wearing a mask. How can I relate to that, bro?
Well,
that he did.
Put one on.
Speaking of why should I care, up next, it's Prince Iaukea defending the World Television title.
Yes.
Against Rey Mysterio Jr. Lord Steven Regal comes out at one point, and behind the referee's back, he yanks Mysterio's leg out from under him on the apron, causing him to hit his face on the apron. He then rolls him in, and Iaukea pins him for the win. Uncle Dave gave this 3.25 stars. Again, I gave it 2. Iaukea sucks. What say you?
I gave it 2. I disagree. I don't think he sucks, but I just, I don't think he was as great as they wanted him to be or thought he was.
Okay. Let me rephrase. I don't think he sucked. There's a difference between sucking and just being boring and not making me give a crap about you. He's the latter.
I go right back to our chairman discussion a minute ago with Sean Spears.
Mm-hmm.
Going off of what I saw on AEW, I don't. At the time of this recording, I should say, I just don't care about him, but I know he's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
it's possible to be good and suck. As weird as that sounds.
Well, the sad thing is with that, not to get off on a tangent, but the sad thing is they're proving all the naysayers right as soon as he left, where it's all the pro WWE, anti AEW people, they're like, why should I give a crap about the 10 guy? Well, there you go.
Well, he's still 10 guy. He's still 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. Hey, maybe that's going to lead to something, man. There you go. I
wonder how his wife feels about me in the 10 seconds. Anyways.
She's a 10. Anyway, when Rey Mysterio explains to the referee what happened, Iaukea seems upset about Regal's interference, hands the belt to Mysterio, and holds his hand up in victory. I like how Tony Schiavone has to point out, well, none of this is real, so he's still the champion. Thanks, Tony.
I mean, here you're saying I went the opposite direction. I like Tony Schiavone saying that. I think it needs to be said. So in that respect, I said that was awesome. I love that he did that.
I mean, yeah, I get, because it would have been confusing, especially with the way WCW did things. For all we know, he could have been surrendering the belt to him. So I guess the reason for this, by the way,
some people may not get this. You might not even. But currently, the UFC, I think it's the bantamweight champion, he won the title via disqualification from a nut shot. Had he taken his belt that he had, quote, won and just handed it back, Petrion, I probably would have had respect for him, just like Iaukea did here. I'm just saying, in some respects, it could work.
Right. Well, apparently the reason for all of this, by the way, is Regal had been cost the TV title against Iaukea by Rey Mysterio on Nitro. So now Regal is trying to get back at Mysterio.
After, though, it needs to be pointed out, after Iaukea had won it cleanly.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
He just won it cleanly on Nitro and shocked the hell out of everybody. I remember watching, wow, that guy's the champ now?
Yeah.
His push came out of nowhere, dude.
Yeah. I like how Conrad Thompson just rails against him. He was like, why did you make me watch him?
I like how he tries. I don't know if he's joking or not. But he goes, did you guys do this because, Rocky, and he looked kind of like him? But, I don't think that had anything to do with him whatsoever. There's no way in hell.
No, because Rocky Maivia wasn't getting over. So
I'm pretty sure Iaukea won the title before he did, too.
Yeah. Well, like I said, why would you try to copy a gimmick that's not getting over? I don't.
I mean, is it because it's somewhat Polynesian?
Yeah, right.
I think you're digging for stuff with that, dude.
It's Sonny Siaki. That one was plain as day.
Blatant as hell, yes. Although, genetics-wise, I mean, that's God's doing, making him look like that. So,
right.
To be fair, that's, but, the way they try to make him like The Rock, yeah, that was on them.
Right. Backstage, Mean Gene Okerlund is standing by with the Giant. He tells the Giant that... What?
I just the way you said that.
He tells the Giant that the Outsiders are all about psychological warfare. The Giant says that he knows this, but tonight he's going to be in total control of himself tonight, and he's going to walk out with both of the tag team titles.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what was the deal with this, by the way? Because they kept talking about his tag team partner was Lex Luger, but he was banned from the building for reasons.
Okay, I forgot. I was trying to. I wrote down my notes to go and look it up and then put it in here. I forget why, but yeah, it was a whole thing.
But up next is Buff Bagwell versus Diamond Dallas Page. This one went for 9 minutes 46 seconds. When Bagwell gets rough with the referee, the ref backs him down in the corner and chews him out. Oh, man. In the end, Bagwell tries for a hangman's neckbreaker, but DDP reverses it into a diamond cutter. It's hard to argue with Conrad Thompson when he says this is one of the most over moves in all of wrestling. May have been the most over move.
For about a couple more months, yes.
It was, and even after Austin got big with the stunner and everything, it was right up there, I'd say, because it got the same reactions in WCW that the stunner was getting in WWF. So, I don't know. I think it was the closest thing they had.
Yeah, and I think it probably would have been even bigger. I'll even later say it would have stayed ahead of the stunner if they had made Page a main guy. Not just the perennial upper, very close to main event, upper mid-card guy.
Yep. And I feel like he did get held. I mean, because even when you hear Bischoff talking about it, I feel like he got kind of held back because of Bischoff being afraid of favoritism because they were friends in real life. He's like, well, I don't want to push him. I mean, that's my friend.
That is one thing to look at, but then but he was actually good. It's not like he was going to push crap.
I know.
Like when people say that, I'm like, I look at the other side of the coin. Page is so damn good
and reliable.
Right?
Nobody ever once said, "Oh, Page isn't reliable," and everybody liked him. Like freaking Macho Man endorsed him. Like, damn.
I think the Diamond Cutter every night.
Yeah, right. VK Wall Street, Syxx, and Nick Patrick then all rushed to the ring. Mother of God.
That's DDP. A real trio right there.
Yeah, right. What the hell is Nick Patrick gonna do? Like seriously.
Holy crap! I'm sorry, just like that list of guys right there, man. Who's who?
And they represented the NWO. Yeah.
This was only just the NWO, not some stupid spinoff either. So this is the legit team.
By the way, I was today years old when I found out Syxx came out to the Jobber theme for the NWO.
I believe he debuted it.
Really?
He did, yeah. Because the first time I heard he came out to it.
Yikes.
I believe, and don't hold me to this, but I believe it debuted at Sold Out.
Yikes. Yeah, well, yeah, but I wouldn't doubt it because they don't want to play the same song all night. But either way, that trio rushes the ring, DDP takes off through the crowd, and the referee declares it a DQ win for Page. There you go. Uncle Dave gave this 2 3/4 stars, so damn near 3 stars. I, again, gave it 2 stars. What say you?
Wow, I gave it 1. Not to go back on everything I just said, but this match sucked.
It wasn't great.
Now, to be fair, I think it was meant to be crap. I don't necessarily agree if that ever happens, but I think it was meant to be crap because of the way it ended. Like, it had no...
It didn't have an end.
It had no ending, yeah. So, like, maybe it was not meant to be a good match, so I'll give it that.
Yeah, no clue.
Okay, this is probably the dud of the year for DDP, which is, whatever, because he's got great stuff coming up.
Damn right he does.
He's about to headline a pay-per-view in 2 months, so he's fine.
Well, speaking of great stuff coming up, now we got Eddie Guerrero defending the United States title against Lionheart Chris Jericho in about 12 minutes. The pre-match
for this one.
Well, the pre-match graphic for this says it's for the television title. Good Lord. In the end,
And that pre-match graphic too, by the way. Whew, man.
Yeah, right.
Some money was spent there.
Yeah, I like how I sent pictures of that to a friend of ours, and he said, "Yep." And today we get a screaming Roman Reigns superimposed on the screen.
That's augmented reality. I love that. I think it's badass. But then you look at this, I'm like,
they debuted that stuff at the WrestleMania we were at, and you and I were looking like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, we're like, I think it was specifically Asuka's entrance, right? Didn't that catch us? I feel like it was her mask.
It was either that or the New Day with the pancakes. I can't remember. But yeah, I was like, what the hell?
For people, by the way, who haven't been to a show since they started doing this, you obviously don't see it, but you see it on the screen.
Yeah,
so you think it's somewhere in the arena, but it's not.
Right.
But
yeah.
to their credit, though, it had me thinking, where the hell is it? So it was pretty damn believable.
Yeah, I know. We thought something had lowered or whatever, but I don't know. But either way, in the end of this one, Eddie Guerrero hits a tilt-a-whirl sunset flip for the win. Uncle Dave said, quote, "The crowd chanted boring during this match, and fans went to the concession stands in droves during it."
I did not. I can tell you, when I go to a show, well, especially back then, I wanted to see every damn thing.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, unless I really have to go, I'm holding it. This, like, why would
I've hung out with you multiple times. You always have to go.
Yeah, at least once, but I try to do it during a match that's like, who cares about this? But Uncle Dave gave this 3 1/4 stars. I just gave it 3. What say you?
I gave it 2, only because I know I've seen better between these two, I should say.
Pure wrestling wise, this may have been the best match on the show for me. So I don't know. I really like every time these guys get together, so this is no different for me. But after the match, Jericho hands Guerrero the U.S. title, and they shake hands. So both of them are baby faces at this time. Next up,
Jericho is the epitome of white meat baby face at this time, too.
Oh, yeah. Posing with the crowd and come on, baby, and all that good stuff. Yep. But up next, we have a triple threat tag team match between the Faces of Fear, Meng and Barbarian, the Public Enemy, Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge, and the Harlem Heat, Booker T and Stevie F.N. Ray, with Sister Sherry in their corner. This one went just shy of 8 minutes. Rocco Rock is bald, and I am shocked. I thought he always had hair.
I remember him bald, so...
I remember him with the
dreadlocks. Hair too, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, whoa, okay. But there was some fun stuff in this match, but it was just okay. Rocco tries a front flip off the top and gets caught in midair by the Barbarian because he's such an effing man. Grunge hits a crossbody off. Grunge hits a crossbody off the top on a Barbarian and drapes Rocco on top of him for the pinfall win. Uncle Dave gave this a 1.5. I give it dose for slightly below average. What say you?
Gave it 1. This sucked.
You hate 2 out of 3 of these teams, so.
I know. I mean, I don't like the Public Enemy. They had to carry the whole match.
You're right. Wow. But up next, we've got Steve Mongo McMichael with Queen Deborah in his corner, taking on Jeff Jarrett. This one went 8 minutes, 12 seconds.
Pay-per-view picks up. Oh, man.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I like how the commentary was confused about this one, by the way, because they were like, so what happens if Jarrett wins? Is he in the 4 Horsemen? Like, what's going on?
Well, that was the thing for every Jarrett match before he was, I don't know if he was ever officially in it.
Yeah, this whole storyline was weird. And they never explained anything. He just kind of hung around, like, whatever. But this one went 8 minutes, 12 seconds. The ref gets bumped. Deborah gets on the apron. Mongo tells her to get down, and he pulls her hair for some reason. She screams and then throws the Halliburton over Mongo's head to Jeff Jarrett, who blasts Mongo in the head with it and pins him for the win. So no guitars in this one, just Halliburtons. Uncle Dave gave it a 1 3/4. I gave it dose. What say you?
God, you guys gave away too much. You were 1
star. Wow. I didn't think it was completely awful. I just was like, I wasn't into it.
Look, their best match ever is the Clash of the Champions where Mongo wins the United States title. Okay? That's it. They've never had a good match other than that.
Not sure if I've ever seen that match.
I believe it was the very last ever Clash of the Champions.
Wow. What a way to go out with Mongo on top, eh?
Yeah.
But after the match, Deborah smiles and shrugs. She then goes to check on Mongo. So was she, like, splitting from him or something?
They never really said it. Like, for some reason, she favored Jeff Jarrett. Now, watching this as a kid, I was like, is she just going with him because he's the dreamy blonde guy? What the hell? I don't know. I never understood it.
Yeah, she wanted the Chippendales dancer.
To my knowledge, they never talked about it. And then, to make matters worse, like, they pair them together in WWE. So,
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, I guess, because Vince Russo was obviously watching, because I guess they said it was his idea to bring in Deborah and pair her up with Jarrett. So that's odd. I don't know. But up next, speaking of odd things happening with people's wives, Kevin Sullivan with Jacqueline and Jimmy Hart in his corner is taking on Chris Benoit with Woman in his corner. It is called a San Francisco death match. This one went about 8.5 minutes.
Those happen in the Tenderloin district every single day. Any local listeners understand what I mean? That's your cousin.
Yeah.
Doesn't your cousin live around or work around here?
Yeah, I believe so.
Ask your cousin about the Tenderloin district in San Francisco.
Okay.
Troy's cousin's a cop in California, folks. Ask him about it, and he'll tell you. I bet he's got some stories.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Yeah. Well, and now he's a detective, so I'm sure he has even more stories.
Probably worse stories, but okay.
I hope he gets paid well for that, by the way. Just saying.
I think you get your normal salary, hazard pay, and tax breaks, and everything for having to work around all those drugs and stuff. But yeah.
Well, and he still has a snow shovel out there, even though you guys don't get snow, because he's got to shovel the crap off of a sidewalk every day. So, no.
Where's he going? Where he needs a snow shovel?
Say what?
Where is he going in San Francisco, where it only needs a snow shovel?
Well, hey, it's just shovel the crap off your driveway, and just enough for the car to be able to get out.
If you haven't been there, you need a lot more than a snow shovel. But I digress.
Well, he uses a shovel first, and then he breaks out the hose, and just enough for the car to get through it. Okay, it doesn't have to be clean, just enough to get the car through. Anyway, to this match, god dang. For some reason, Woman and Jacqueline are strapped together. I guess that's part of this. And they're brawling outside of the ring during this one. They come into the ring eventually, and the strap is used by the men as well as the women. It basically turns into a four-way until the men brawl up the aisle, into the crowd, and into the backstage area. We get another WCW table that no sells as Jacqueline lays over top of Kevin Sullivan to protect him, and Benoit swan dives on both of them anyway. But the table doesn't break. No sold. And Benoit pins Sullivan for the win.
I find that to be worse, personally.
Yeah, I know. I cringed. I was like, ooh. When those tables don't break, I'm always like, oh my gosh. Why didn't they ever gimmick their tables? Ever. Because this was like a common thing. I feel like on any WCW show you and I cover where they use a table, this happens. It's brutal. But either way, Uncle Dave gave this thing 3.5 stars. I gave it 2.5. I thought it was average. What say you?
I gave it 2. A lot better than I thought it was going to. Well, a lot better than I remember, but.
Yeah. I was never a Kevin Sullivan fan. Never cared about any of his work.
I don't understand when people, still to this day, this is the greatest heel in history of wrestling.
What the hell are you
watching? That's what they say when I hear people doing retros on them and stuff and reviews.
I'm sure he did some good heel work as a Satanist down in Florida or whatever, but I don't care. And I
never thought he was good either. Make that clear.
Weird. Yeah, I know. His promos made me laugh. They didn't freak me out or anything. I was just like, that New York guy, that Boston guy with a thick accent telling me about the devil and the third eye and whatever the hell.
Got your third eye right here.
What the hell? After the match, Arn Anderson shakes his head while looking down at the ring, amazed. Jimmy Hart checks on Sullivan and Jacqueline, who aren't moving. Agents hit the ring to check on everyone, including Benoit, who's holding the back of his neck. Benoit, Sullivan, and Jacqueline all get stretchered out of the ring and into an ambulance. And, they're clearly going to a medical facility. And a woman climbs into the ambulance with Benoit. We now get a commercial for Uncensored, where everyone is in jail telling us to watch the show. I presume they're all in jail because of how bad the show is. It's a crime to keep on holding this thing on an annual basis.
I can argue that.
Yeah, there you go.
The previous year, the world famous was the Alliance to End Hulkamania.
That was 96? Yeah, it was 96.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. So this, I don't remember Uncensored 97, so...
This one would have a really cool ending where, Sting repelled from the Raptors and finally, made, ultimately revealed where his allegiance lied and beat the hell out of the entire NWO, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, so by default, it's much better than the previous ones.
Sure.
If nobody has seen Uncensored 95 and 96, don't do it.
Before you watch it, we should warn you. Don't watch it.
Right?
Got another one in.
Save yourself about 5-6 hours and just don't pull it up on Peacock. Waste your time on something else, like, I don't know, Modern Family. Moving on here. This next one is for the WCW World Tag Team titles. It is the Outsiders with Syxx defending against the Giant. The Giant honestly looks like a star and a legit Giant in this one, beating the crap out of both Outsiders throughout most of this one. At one point, Syxx dives at Giant, gets caught, and then thrown at Nash, and then Hall hits Giant in the back with a tag title behind the referee's back. Nash then hits a jackknife on the Giant and collapses. Lex Luger starts to come to the ring. Eric Bischoff tries to stop him but gets tossed aside. Luger gets on the apron and tags in from the Giant before cleaning house, locking Nash in the torture rack and making him tap out. The Giant then hits a chokeslam on Scott Hall and pins him for the win because I guess Luger's didn't count. I was really confused as to how Lex Luger could interfere with no repercussions, by the way. Syxx legit separated his shoulder during this run-in, and he'll be out for a few weeks. Uncle Dave gave this mess 3.5 stars. Again, I give it 2.5 again for average. What say you?
So, what? Because he's there, everything gets an extra star. Not
I guess
that,
so.
Us, what our ratings are the ratings, but it's like everything we've said, he has got one more.
Yep.
But I'm gonna say 2. But
yeah, this wasn't great. I mean, it could have been much, much worse considering who's in it, but it was fine. Syxx did 3 different freaking run-ins throughout this night, plus his match, and he finally got hurt. There you go.
he's also fresh to the NWO too. Let's not forget he's only been there a couple of months.
Yep. He was 6 because he was the 6th man.
I didn't know you asked because apparently someone says 1 + 2 + 3 is why he was 6, but
yeah, I guess it was multiple meanings because he was the 6th man, and yeah, because Scott Hall's the one that came up with his name, and he said, well, 1, 2, 3 kid, we'll add 1, 2, and 3, and you get 6. So there you go. Like, okay.
And 6 comes in a pack.
Oh my gosh.
No,
What
he said that.
Are you serious?
Well, Waltman did, yeah, because that's where they came up with 6-Pac. Yeah.
Nash claims they came up with 6-Pac because of 2-Pac.
I don't know who to believe then.
I think Waltman's talking for himself.
Look, let's be real. He's saying this, but Nash is the only one in that group that was never messed up. So I'm more inclined to believe him. Not that I'm saying everything he says is gospel, but I'm more inclined to believe the guy who's never
not a complete screw up.
Yeah, I was trying to find good words, but yeah.
When you can depend on Kevin Nash more than you can everybody else, something's wrong.
That's why I tell everybody, I'm like, you know what though? People give Nash crap for the finger poke of doom, and they should. And Triple H's reign of terror and whatever. Like, we need to remind people that these are the only 2 guys in the clique that were never messed up.
Yep.
I'm just pointing that out. I'm not saying that's an excuse for them to do all the stuff they did. I'm simply saying the two that get the rap for that are the two that never had any problems outside of physical injuries.
Well, if you extend the click out to, the peripheral guys, even Just Incredible had multiple issues. And, unfortunately, Louis Spicolli, see what happened with him. So this was just an issue all the way around. But either way, we're going to take our second to last break. When we come back, it's main event time. The reason why we're all here right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan. Yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
we shared the room.
Shared a room.
We shared the room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast.
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah. Well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAST. Nearly stuffed up the ending.
No, it's all right. Good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C. We spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back. This one is Hollywood Hulk Hogan defending the WCW World Heavyweight Title with Vincent and Ted DiBiase in his corner against Roddy Piper. This one went for 10 minutes, 52 seconds. Hogan's apprehensive, but Piper's like a rabid dog going after him. World title matches in WCW.
Can I just say, before we even get into it, I remember vividly going to the Cow Palace for this, and in my mind, knowing Roddy Piper was leaving with the world title.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I probably just spoiled it. No, sorry, like 30 years, 20 years spoilers, but in my heart, I knew he was leaving with that title. It just felt like it.
I wish he would have, not to spoil the ending here if nobody's seen it, but I really wish he would have, because, man, that would have been awesome to see him with that belt. But, didn't he win it later for a minute, or no?
Never won that. I think he went on to win the U.S. title, that was it, in WCW.
Yeah, I think this would have been the perfect time. Yeah, I think this would have been the perfect time to slap the title on him, but either way.
97, and it's just, it's funny because 2000 gets the rap. Sorry, I'm going to veer off a little bit here, but the 2000 gets the rap for 40 world champions?
Yeah.
97, people got to remember, it was only 2. And you don't have to really count 2 because Luger only held it for 5 days. So I'm like,
Sting at the end of the year.
At the tail end, though, dude, tail end. We're talking 2 days before, maybe 3 days before New Year's, though. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, it would be held up, right? So it's
right.
So did he win it?
I guess.
Point being, though, the world champion was dominated this year.
Yep.
And you can look at it multiple ways, but I think that's a better look for wrestling. Like right now with Roman.
Yeah. Oh,
and
not to get off on a tangent.
So far though, with AEW, they've not passed it around like candy. I got to give them that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like who they've given it to, but they've not passed it around like candy. So good for them.
Yeah, and Kenny Omega had a long run, so I felt he should have actually make him matter.
I felt like he should have been their first champion. Well, no, Hangman should, but he should have been like that, or him.
Yeah. Yep. But WCW title matches, I felt like never had rules enforced because Piper low blows Hogan right in front of the ref, chokes him multiple times with his t-shirt, and then hit him with a chair, All of this in front of the referee.
Now, Tony Schiavone sometimes would say on commentary, "Oh, the referee's being a little lax with the rules."
Yeah, this isn't
so
lax
they
with
did
the
acknowledge
rules.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying they did acknowledge it.
But it's like, this isn't lax with the rules. This is, there are no rules.
Yeah, pretty much.
They also brawled around the ring for way longer than a 10 count, and nothing happened. Sting and Macho Man walk halfway down the aisle. Sting tries to stop Savage, but Macho Man keeps walking down to the ring, and Sting leaves. In the end, Piper locks Hogan in a sleeper hold, and Hogan slumps down to his butt. And it looks like the referee drops his arm 3 times because the bell rings and Piper celebrates. However, I guess Hogan's foot or feet were under the bottom rope, which I didn't even catch. So the match is restarted. Then Macho Man pulls brass knuckles out of his leather jacket and hands them to Hogan. Hogan gets up and punches Piper, then pins him for the win. This was a confusing effing mess. Uncle Dave gave it a 1.25 stars. I give it 2 stars. What say you?
I gave it 2. Man, I remember just being pissed when this happened.
Did you know what the hell was even going on? Because they rang the bell and Piper started celebrating.
Because, well, not that part. But when Macho Man came out, I kept my eye on him the whole time. Because during this era, everybody was showing the NWO.
Yeah.
So, I'm watching him, like, oh my God, he's going to screw Piper, and you just knew it the moment Sting left. So, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, when
I
the bell rang...
I do remember us cheering, if that's what you're asking. Yes, we thought he had won.
Yeah, I mean, were you confused when they restarted? Like, is this after the match?
Yeah, because I don't remember the announcer flat out saying it. Like, we're restarting the match. If he did, I didn't hear it. Now, anybody who watches back these old events, if you ever notice, go back and watch it. Watch any of them. You barely hear the ring announcer unless it's Michael Buffer.
Yeah, right.
You hardly ever hear Penzer ever. So I don't remember hearing him say restart the match if it was said.
Yeah, I really don't know. So either way, after the match, Macho Man joins Hollywood Hogan in beating the crap out of Roddy Piper. Savage spray paints NWO on Piper's chest before hitting him with 2 elbow drops and then holding him for 2 Hogan leg drops. Hogan celebrates with Savage, saying that this was for the outsiders, and then dumps the ref out of the ring before Savage drops another elbow on Piper. Uncle Dave said, quote, Savage turned heel and joined the NWO, which doesn't make storyline sense for at least a dozen different reasons, but whatever.
Yep, I didn't understand it whatsoever.
Yeah, so I didn't understand.
Because at the time, going back and looking at it, now I'm looking at it in hindsight, there were not many big face stars. So when you have all the top guys in the NWO, it creates kind of a logjam for that. And okay, well, Hogan's a champ, so how Macho Man is not going to be champ. It's just stuff like that. I guess there was Liger the Giant, but that wasn't going to happen.
Yet.
Yeah, right. But it just, it was kind of stupid.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Looking back at it, they watered down the NWO quickly. I didn't realize how quickly they did it. Now, it's still attraction, obviously. It was still hot, but...
Well, either way, that does it for the show. We're going to take our final break of the podcast here. When we come back, we're going to tell you our final thoughts on the show, our final ratings, and what's coming up in the weeks ahead. Right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan McCarthy and I'm the host of the No Credentials Required podcast. Start your work week with the Monday Drop-In, where I talk about the sports beat in the Capital District, also known as the Mighty 518, as well as Metro New York sports from an upstate point of view. I also give a life lesson from a weekly sports story, so you might learn something from that. I also have a midweek podcast where I interview different sports personalities and talk about a wide array of topics. Take a listen and subscribe on your preferred podcast app, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Also check out our social media channels on Twitter and Instagram, BellyUpNCR, and Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsNCR. We're a part of the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network in association with Godzilla Media. No credentials required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we are back.
And we're back.
Final ratings time. Internet Movie Database gave this 6.3 out of 10. CageMatch.net gives it 6.78 out of 10. And I give it 6.5 out of 10 for B. What say you?
Gave it a C-.
Yeah, I know it gets extra nostalgia points, plus the fact you were there. So
yeah, I mean, also,
that.
It wasn't a crap of a show. I will say this: I would have to think about it, like pay-per-view wise. This was probably the weakest pay-per-view I was ever at. Again, I'd have to really think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great. I'll say that. I mean, it didn't completely suck. I've seen way worse. It just, I don't know. I wasn't really into this one. It was so-so. But that does it for Super Brawl 7 from 1997. We have a big February planned here. Next week, next couple weeks, actually, we only have one WWF show. Because next week on February 9th, we're going back to TNA in 2007 for Against All Odds for its 15-year anniversary. I don't think this was a particularly big pay-per-view, if I remember correctly. Against All Odds 07.
It was decent.
Yeah, I mean, it's
from what I can remember. I'm sure there's gonna be something I'll see on the show when I rewatch it back. That was like, oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I mean, the main event is Christian Cage defending the NWA title against Kurt Angle in a nearly 20-minute match.
Now that's really good.
Yeah.
Shock.
I know, right? AJ Styles takes on Rhino in a Motor City Chain match. Man. Senshi versus Austin Starr. LAX versus Team 3D in a Little Italy street fight. I think that's where they put the Italian flag on all the weapons. Oh, gosh.
They look like Mexican weapons.
Yeah, I remember that. Sting and Abyss go face each other in a prison yard match. I got to remind myself what the hell that was. And Chris Sabin defends the X Division title against Jerry Lynn. Oh, and don't forget,
that's probably a good match, or a good match on paper, but I don't know if it's a good match or not, considering how old Jerry Lynn is. But
we'll have to see. I mean,
I'm getting most of this event, which I kind of like. Now I have a reason to watch it back and watch it back for content, not just to write notes.
Yeah. Well, this card, man. I mean, I just named off the good stuff, but we've also got Lance Hoyt versus Dale Torborg in a base brawl match.
So I asked you if this was base brawl, and you told me it wasn't. I knew it was.
Okay, I forgot. You are correct.
Dude, that's future AEW title challenger and the Demon, dude. That's money.
Yeah. Well, in Lance Hoyt's corner, he's got David Eckstein, who's a former infielder. Yeah. He played for the Angels and the Cardinals. I don't know much about baseball. So.
He's good though. But
well, in Dale Torborg's corner, he's got AJ Przinsky, who was the catcher for the White Sox.
Yeah. I believe he went to the Angels too, I think.
He was on the Rangers for a while, Red Sox.
Rangers, that's what I knew. It was one of my division rivals. Yeah.
Yeah. He was only there for a season, then he went to the Red Sox. So yeah. But yeah. Oh,
he started in 2005.
I do remember that. Yeah.
He had the X Division title in the locker room and all that.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, because
they brought it out on Best Damn Sports Show, and John Cena said, "I think I saw the title in the gumball machine outside," and everyone got pissed at him for that.
Yeah, good lord. And it's all because he goes by AJ, so there you go.
They call him a phenomenal AJ Przinsky. They got that. They try to get that over.
Well, and we've also on the show got Christy Hemme versus Big Fat Oily Guy in a tuxedo match.
Yeah.
So
when's the last time you actually rooted for the Big Fat Oily Guy?
Every damn day. But But all right, that's coming up next week on February 9th. February 16th is going to be our double main event week. We have ECW SuperBrawl 1996, so we're going back to the Land of Extreme for that. Don't know if it's any good. Probably
not taking any credit for this. TJ gave me two choices. He said, "Do you want the smelly crap or the kind of smelly crap?"
Come on, man. You picked the smallest pile of crap you could find.
Okay, I'm going off paper, by the way. This actually might be good. I don't know. To my knowledge, I've never seen it, so I kid, but it could be good. Who knows?
I didn't like ECW in 96 at all, but yeah, it could be halfway decent. I don't know. But we're also...
I never liked ECW at all, other than a couple of good things.
Well, we're covering that, and bonus show that week. It is going to be WWF Raw is War, the very first ever 2-hour Raw from February 3rd, 1997. So
I'm looking forward to watching that back, actually.
Yeah, I am too. I haven't seen it, so I'm thinking for the first 2-hour Raw, especially with now they're in the battle with Nitro.
Trying to remember if this was the infamous cage match where Brett shoves Vince on his ass. I feel like this was it.
That might have been, come to think of it. But yeah, anyway, that's...
Or it might have been a tag match with the WrestleMania main event guys. I'm confused.
Nice. Yeah, well, we'll have to see when we get there. So we're changing it up a little bit. We got some big things coming for you in the future. Keep your eye on the YouTube page and our link tree. That's linktr.ee/main event marks. And like I said, big things coming in the future. Thanks for joining me today, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And next week, we'll see you all again when we go against all odds for TNA 2007.